Grey's Anatomy, a medical-based drama centered around Meredith Grey, an aspiring surgeon and daughter of one of the best surgeons, Dr. Ellis Grey. Throughout the series, Meredith goes through professional and personal challenges along with fellow surgeons at Seattle Grace Hospital. This series focuses on the lives of surgical interns, residents, and attending doctors as they develop into seasoned doctors while trying to maintain personal lives and relationships. This 16-season show experiences many tragedies such as deaths, relationship after relationships, and hardly any medicine. So here's a quick 30-second summary. Meredith becomes an intern at Seattle Grace Hospital. She meets Christina Yang, Izzy Stevens, George O'Malley, and Alex Karev. These interns are under the resident Miranda Bailey, who shapes their characters throughout the series. Fast forward a couple seasons, Meredith is married to Derek Shepard. She finds out she has not one but two sisters, and the head chief had a thing with her mom when they were going through med school. Then many deaths have shaped her. George, Izzy, Derek, her mom, a couple random interns. She finally got a Harper Avery Award, became the head of general surgery, and now a single mom with 3 children. Throughout all of this, there's relationships going like crazy and out-of-this-world surgeries. Izzy and Alex, George and Meredith, George and Callie, Meredith and Derek, Derek and Addison, Callie and Arizona, Lexi and Mark, Jackson and April, Meredith and DeLuca, Jackson and Maggie. Basically, every character in the show has dated each other. After a plane crash, a bomb, drowning, a hospital shooter, the hospital on fire, Derek's death, Meredith Grey grew into an aspiring surgeon and continues to grow as the show continues.
Grey's Anatomy is a comedy of manners. A comedy that satirizes behavior in a particular social group, especially the upper class. In Grey's Anatomy, many doctors and interns perform operations on patients while trying to maintain personal lives. We consider them upper class because they are the top skilled doctors. During the show, the doctors have different personalities. Christina tries to talk girl because she is tough and doesn't really open up to others and talk much. She also doesn't get along with the ladies.
The first aspect of society that Grey's Anatomy satirizes is the center of relationships. This not only satirizes the relationships between coworkers of life in 2019, but also the relationships of regular people who don't work together. These relationships highlight that relationships only have one thing centered about them. In the show, and like many relationships, the relationship is centered about what happens in the on-call room.
Dr. Gray.
For example, Alex had many stands in the on-call room, as well as other surgeons. On break, at lunch, overnight, many who were in a relationship would be in the on-call room. This was also the reason for breakups. Meredith was sleeping with Derek while he had a wife, even though his wife Addison has slept with his best friend Mark, and George slept with Izzy after arguing with Callie, causing an end to their marriage.
The second aspect that Grey's Anatomy satirizes is the interns' lives. They virtually never leave the hospital as they carry on 20-some-hour shifts. Their whole lives seem to be encumbered within the hospital walls. Even their love lives, family lives, and social lives are carried on here with the doctors and nurses. From arguments with their partners while performing surgeries, or caring for each other when they are ill, to planning parties and more. Their personal lives are so closely intertwined with their work life at the hospital that you can't tell where one stops and the other begins, because basically it doesn't. This satirizes nurses' real lives now, because in real life, doctors most likely do not have the time to focus on anything but their patients. In addition, business and personal lives are usually not allowed in the workplace.
The third aspect of society that Grey's Anatomy satirizes is quick rebounds out of a relationship. Many people now move on from relationships very quickly. They get out of one and right into another. Today, many people date each other without knowing their partner's true self, and people also change feelings way too quickly. In the beginning of the series, George had strong feelings for Meredith, but before his dad died, his dad told him that he had to be with Callie. George and Callie got married in Vegas on a whim because of this. Once they came back after their marriage, many of their friends and colleagues, including Izzy, believed that the marriage was a mistake. Callie grew suspicious of George's and Izzy's friendship, and after this fight, George confided in Izzy, and they ended up getting together. This romantic friendship ended Callie and his relationship. Callie then had many hookups with Mark Sloan, but ended up marrying Arizona in the long run and having a daughter courtesy of Mark. Throughout the show, many relationships started this way, a quick rebound.
Grey's Anatomy is one of the best choices for the most enduring form of satire because it shows the irony of how doctors would be expected to be professional while performing surgeries and transplants, yet they stand around the operating table making small talk. The doctors compete side by side with each other on certain surgeries. In addition, they argue and put each other down in order to get on top. They exaggerate the casualness of working in medical. The doctors also make jokes about one another that sometimes end up being light, other times more sincere.